Oh, hey, good morning, everybody. You're watching Rebel Roundup. I missed you all yesterday, but I was busy with this one here because we were in Lethbridge for a Ben Bankus show. I'm your regular host, Sheila Gunn, and I'm joined today by my Tuesday co-host, my real-life best friend from Regina, Saskatchewan, Lise Merle. Lise, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Well, thank you, Sheila Gunn. Same to you, and same to you, Canada. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We are coming off a pretty epic turnaround road trip to see Ben Bankus
Yeah,
in Lethbridge. It was just the best. We
yeah.
highly recommend Ben Bankus, and that he's
Hmm.
being canceled in places that most need to hear from Ben
Yes.
Bankus is such a shame.
Yes, he's joined the Danger Cats in being canceled for being funny and for being edgy. Apparently, comedy is supposed to be neither funny nor interesting.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
new woke way of the world. This is our daily news and opinion show. You've already got a couple of them out of us, wherein we discuss the news of the day, completely unscripted on this, yet another Catholic holiday where my Protestant brothers and sisters in Christ accidentally celebrate with me. So if you want to get involved in the show, and have your say. If you're watching us on Rumble, that's a great free speech platform. You can leave a Rumble rant over there to support the work that we do because, as you know, we'll never take a penny from any level of government to do the work that we do to hold them to account. It would just contaminate everything that we did. And you would question our sincerity in every story, even if we were being completely sincere. So, no government money for us, but we invite you to support us, and in turn, we'll give you your say. So, if it's over the $5 US cutoff, we're reading it on air. Under that, time permitting, we'll get to that. And I do put that caveat on it today, particularly hard because David Menzies needs the studio after us. And even though neither one of us are in the studio, Olivia, behind the scenes,
Mhm.
controls the Toronto studio. And if you want to be in the studio in Toronto, you need Olivia. If you are watching us on YouTube, same rules apply, but their paid chat is called a super chat and the paid comment is called a super thanks. So if you missed the live version of the show, still want to support us, you can leave a paid comment there. Okay, as I mentioned, it is St. Patrick's Day. I'm not going to go into Mark Carney's best wishes, but let's go to Pierre Poilievre's St. Patrick's Day wishes, where everybody wears green as we are and celebrate the story of St. Patrick chasing the snakes out of Ireland. Um, and apparently, Polyev is having a St. Patrick's Day beer with Mark Carney. I don't believe that. Let's watch.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Prime Minister. I thought, given our shared Irish heritage, we would sit down for a pint on this very special day to celebrate our ancestors. Now, as you can see,
Pint.
I've just poured a beer very badly. This is indeed a
I was gonna
famous
say.
Guinness. You see the harp right on there. But on top is a lot of foam and not much beer. Kind of like your government. You have lots of foam when you said that you were going to double a home building, but not enough beer. Home building's actually down 15%. Lots of foam when you said you were going to build major projects, but here we are, not much beer. You haven't approved a single pipeline, not for oil, not for gas, and not even a pipeline for beer. And then you said that you were going to make life more affordable, more foam again, because our grocery prices are rising the fastest in the G7, and we've got 2.2 million people lined up at the food bank. And then you said you were going to spend less. That too is foam. You've doubled the deficit and given us the biggest spending outside of COVID in over 30 years. And by the way, when you spend all that money, you cause inflation. What is inflation? It is when the prices foam up, they inflate, and they get higher and higher, and people pay more and more. So it's this St. Patrick's Day. I'm hoping that you will have the luck of the Irish and turn it around and have a beer without so much foam. And how do you do that? Well, you have to get back to the substance of the drink, my friend. We have to focus on getting things done. Get the government out of the way by removing all taxes on home building so that we can build houses for our youth. Remove all the liberal laws so that we can clear the way for pipelines to be built. Cut the bureaucracy, the consultants, the corporate welfare, the foreign aid, the handouts to fake refugees, to bring down our deficit and to have a strong money that buys good things for our people. That is how we have more beer and less foam. And with the luck of the Irish, we'll all be better off. I think we can both drink to that.
Feels okay.
It's all right. I mean, there's
It's
nothing.
fine. It was fine. You know what?
It's
One
fine.
thing he did say there that I haven't really heard him say in any real sort of tangible way before is to cut foreign aid and the handouts to fake refugees.
Yeah.
They've been talking about like you have to get rid of the fake refugees, but they haven't really said you have to stop giving them stuff.
Right.
So those two
So
things
a little
were
bit
sort
of a pivot.
shoehorned in the middle
Right.
there.
Right, sandwiched
Okay.
in the middle of a whole bunch of other things, which is
Yes.
fine. Soft launch for a friendly St. Patty's Day post. It's fine. The music was
fine.
cute. It's cute. It's fine. It's just fine.
He's in roast mode for St. Patrick's Day. It's fine.
Yeah.
But he didn't drink that Guinness, and I don't blame him. I hate Guinness.
It's an acquired taste. Like it's a real acquired taste.
If you've ever been punched in the mouth or had a really bad nosebleed, that's what it tastes like to me.
A hit of metallic and thick.
Thick metallic.
Thick metallic.
No,
Yeah.
thank
I
you.
don't know why you drink Guinness when there is such thing as mead. I don't know. I just don't know why.
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm hard onto the Michelob Ultras. Like the lightest possible beer you can get your hands on. That's where I'm at.
You know, we could still put green food coloring in a Michelob Ultra, Sheila. We could do that.
later.
And then it would count. Yeah.
I'm gonna later.
Deal.
It's gonna be great. Let's move on to CBSA with this weird statement. So they came out and issued a statement about it's the craziest thing because I'm trying to understand what they're doing here. As Ezra points out, are they protecting the privacy of an IRGC linked visitor to Canada? I can't even believe I'm saying that. Or are they worried about you if you take pictures of these guys? So
so this is a reply from the Canadian Border Services Agency in response to this post by Behar Bahari. So please inform us what type of visa these regime thugs are able to come to Canada while our beloved family members and friends can't even obtain a tourist visa to visit us. So then this guy was identified.
Yes.
Sheila?
Yes, he was, and he was found, I think maybe this is the same guy that was leading the Al-Quds Day March. If it's not, I mean, that's another IRGC radical leading the Al-Quds Day March. But this is what the CBSA says in response.
The response is bizarre,
He says, taking photos of people in public and falsely claiming they are someone else is dangerous and can lead to severe legal and personal consequences. What do you mean?
Well, they're insinuating that that her description above was not accurate and misidentifying him or falsely claiming that he was something when he was not. That is what they are implying here.
What we do know is they let a guy, an IRGC linked guy, into the country, and he was leading the Al-Quds Day March in Toronto in full IRGC mullah garb.
Right. Exactly the same as pictured above, by the way, like a brown tunic and I think it was, can we just scroll up a little bit? A white turban, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, gray beard, sort of the same get up at the parade the next day.
Yeah. And taking photos of people in public is not illegal.
An offense in
CBSA.
Canada.
It's not. By the way, we brought this up in the morning call when we were sort of discussing this issue this morning, our staff meeting. And I'm like, didn't the CBSA have an entire reality TV show where they went through the luggage of travelers? What was it called? Border security?
Border patrol or something.
Canada's Front Lines or something, where all your vacation underpants are splayed across the table for the national public consumption. Didn't they have an entire show about that? Now you're not allowed to take pictures? Excuse me?
Yes. This feels very much like they're running defense, when regular Canadians have real concerns about who's coming into the country at this precarious moment in
It's almost
history.
as though this photograph embarrasses them because they
Well,
let this guy in.
well, I mean, probably yes. Probably yes. The best part is, did they shut down the comments to this? So then they got royally ratioed by the internet, okay, for doing this. And then they shut down the comments so that nobody can comment and nobody can reply to comments that were already left in the post.
Yeah.
They did that.
Yeah, and then we've got, and how do we know that this is a real problem? Well, from the CBSA themselves, with these IRGC thugs in the country, the CBSA accuses a man of being a former senior Iranian official in a deportation hearing. The agency wants Abbas Omidi, this is the guy that was a subject of committee hearings last week in the House of Commons, removed from Canada for allegedly, having served as a high-ranking official in the Iranian regime.
Right.
So
for industry, mining, and trade, and that's really that's an important distinction because we're talking about things that can make weapons.
Right. Yeah. And the Immigration Review Board, where this guy's having his hearings, like his immigration hearings, illegally withheld his identity for some reason while the CBSA was trying to deport him. Again, are we concerned about these guys' privacy? I definitely am not. I'm concerned about the diaspora in Canada who have to walk the streets with these people who should never be allowed in our country. It's gross.
Yeah, it is.
Gen Z Canadians. I don't believe this. Maybe Eastern Gen Zs, but I don't believe Western Gen Zs. We had a discussion on the phone with one of my Western Gen Zs over the weekend. He believes that everything is satanic or demonic. Gen Z Canadians more likely to support terrorist-backed Iranian regime, says a poll. The 18 to 24 cohort is increasingly susceptible to following direction from influencers on social media, theorized Jack Jedwab, head of the Association of Canadian Studies. Now that sounds like a made-up organization, but maybe it's not. But I think it depends on where you're taking the polling data from. Because I just don't believe this about Western Canadian Zoomers. Western Canadian Zoomers are weaponized conservatives. They are in church more than previous generations. They are worried about the chemicals in the food, and the polling data plays that out. American Zoomers, same thing. Conservatism is on the rise with the Zoomers, and they are the most religious and politically conservative generation since the one that went to fight in World War II. So I think this might be a bit of a Toronto-centric, Montreal-centric poll.
Well, but there kids between, and I'll say kids between 18 and 24 are extraordinarily vulnerable to social trends that they catch on the internet. Okay, they just are. Their brains aren't evolved enough to be able to tell them that they're walking into risky or exploring, risky topics. Of course, the propagandists know this. Of course, they target children. This is exactly how trans madness caught on with an entire generation of Canadian youth. We know that this happens. And as it pertains to the radicalization of vulnerable, and I'll say males, as it pertains to some of the more extreme kinds of radicalization that can happen online. We just got to keep those young people rooted in what's good, rooted in the truth, making good decisions. But I can see that this would happen.
Yeah, and I think it might speak to Canada's immigration levels of people from this cohort.
Sure, absolutely.
Right, like if we are
10
letting in a bunch of kids or people whose parents are from certain places of the world, of course they're going to be ingrained with certain ideologies. And then I wouldn't even blame the influencers online as much as I blame the influencers online reinforcing things they've already heard in the household.
Yes. Yeah, exactly this. Exactly this. So we've had 10 years of this. So kids that were coming to Canada at age 8 10 years ago are now turning 18. You know,
Mm-hmm.
kids that came at 14 10 years ago are now turning 24. Those are the kids that we should keep a watch on anyway.
Close,
Yeah, just
close scope.
make sure they make it to adulthood without doing something silly. I mean,
Put them
that's
in a trade. Put
that's
them in
right.
a
It's
trade.
our responsibility as a society. Yeah,
Yes. Put the young ones in the trades.
that's right. Get them to work.
Doug Ford having a moment of clarity one more time.
Ooh.
Um, we've been seeing a lot of, not a lot, I'm exaggerating there. We've been seeing a bit of good Doug Ford lately, kinda. And he says that Canada should build a cross-country oil pipeline in the light of the Strait of Hormuz being shut down by Iranian aggression. Okay, he's right, but, and we'll get to the but after we hear him talk.
We're going to streamline these court cases. We're going to get it out there, and there's going to be accountability right from the judges all the way down. So as you can tell, and then, it's not just me. You talk to anyone. This country's changed big time in the last 5 years, but we need to get back to our roots by being proud Ontario, proud Ontarians, proud Canadians, because enough is enough of these criminals. I'd lock them up and throw the key away. We're going to have to build more jails, by the way, Michael.
Officially, last question. This is something that the feds said could lead to more violence and not less. And just final thoughts on that for the pepper spray.
The Fed said that? Okay, so
That's the
here
wrong
we go.
clip.
Well,
Yeah,
the Fed should get their act together and get the bail reform that every single problem.
Okay.
Okay, this is fine.
This is
Let him
This is-
go.
this is classic Doug. I like listening to this, Doug. Like, why is this making
This is
sense?
the wrong clip, but this is good Doug Ford. So we can listen to that
Yeah.
if you want. But he's talking about bail reform, building
Obviously.
more jails.
He just said we should build more jails. But you're speaking my language, Doug Ford.
Yes,
I bet Doug hasn't been spending a great deal of time with Mark Carney.
Mark
and
Carney's
he's
on a
starting to-
vacation.
He's starting to make sense again. Like
Yes.
we've realized that there's a pattern that when the premiers hang out with Prime Minister Mark Carney, they come back with all sorts of crazy ideas. And look
Right.
at Doug Ford saying sensical things.
Yeah, I'm just going to go. I noticed this the other day as a trend on Doug Ford's social media account.
Ooh, I've been.
So
Tell me now.
So his first clip is, "You deserve to know when and why Canada's broken bail system is letting out violent repeat offenders back out onto the street. That's why we're proposing common sense bail reform, including live streaming bail hearings. Yes, sir. Mandating
Sir.
written justification when bail is granted. So the judge or justice of the peace, more likely,
Interesting.
can't just say, okay, you're fine. $50 bail, but no cash bail, and off you go. You've got to now write it down and explain to people and put your name to
Name
it.
on it.
Worst possible thing these guys want. And a new anonymous bail dashboard to identify bias and problems in the system.
That's incredible. When he said, we're going to hold judges into line, or that's I'm paraphrasing, but when he said we're going to pull judges into line, that plays a part of it, is making sure that the public knows who's making the decisions that nobody is in favor of. Like Doug Ford, this is a big win for the people of Ontario if you go forward with this. But if this is the sort of first way that Doug Ford is going to push his justices to do common sense things, he may have to consider using the notwithstanding clause to do that.
Yes. Let's just continue. Olivia, indulge me a moment, because this is what a trend I examined yesterday evening.
Mm.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Scroll down Doug Ford's
People deserve to know. Yeah.
Okay, go down from there. Doug Ford opening HOV lanes. So that's the carpool lanes.
Okay.
Which there are an enormous amount of in Toronto that are all but empty during certain parts of the day, causing extreme traffic congestion. Like, why are you not allowing people to use those lanes?
Mm-hmm.
to all passenger vehicles during off-peak hours is one of the common sense ways we're fighting gridlock and getting people moving across Ontario. It's like he's inside my brain every time I'm on the 401. Good Doug Ford, right?
If he says that bike lanes are being eliminated, okay. If he says bike lanes are being eliminated, I might have to rethink my stance on Doug Ford.
There's more. He announces a new Brockville Correctional Complex and expanding another jail and a treatment center, adding 295 correctional beds, which means cells for bad guys. He just announced that. Keep scrolling. Okay, so that's good. This is all in the span of 24 hours. Drug injection sites are a failed experiment that make communities unsafe and trap vulnerable people in addiction. Instead of standing by as addictions get worse, we're funding treatment and lasting recovery while keeping our communities safe. Was he body snatched? Anyway.
Again, I think it's the distance away from Prime Minister Mark Carney. He's come back to his senses, Doug has, it seems, a little bit on some things.
And then we go back to like March 16th. So we're just ticking over the 24-hour mark.
Okay.
Protecting yourself and your family shouldn't be a crime. We're calling on the federal government to legalize pepper spray for self-defense, as well as make DNA collection mandatory for people arrested for sexual offenses. I can't believe it's not mandatory.
I can't believe it's not. Actually, thanks, Doug, for putting us onto this. Yeah. Why is that not the case already?
It's
Why is that not the case already?
Rights of victims first and not those of criminals. So Doug Ford has had a hell of a 24 hours. And maybe this is sincere, maybe it's not, but this sounds like a man who's trying to make a run at the federal leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada.
Oh, he's trying to get, okay. That would make sense because Doug has been pretty far away from all conservative issues for the last number of years.
Sounds very Western. All of those issues are like Danielle Smith things that Danielle
immediately
Smith does.
Embraceable. Immediately embraceable. Yep.
More treatment beds and more jail spaces. That's a Danielle Smith move from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Actually, it's even a Jason Kenney move from 4 years ago. Closing down supervised injection sites, believing in self-defense, all Western red meat conservative issues. That sounds like a man who's trying to move himself from the mushy middle to the blue right.
Could very well be. The one thing that tells me that he's not there, though, is that, I guess there's no announcement or there's no announcement of stopping the abuse of healthcare resources by under the guise of gender identity and gender expression. Yeah, that's the litmus test. Do you believe in human biology and two sexes, or are we playing pretend with the other stuff still, Doug?
Yeah, and then the clip that we couldn't find, that we had the wrong one, but Doug was doing good stuff, so we listened to it. He said the Strait of Hormuz is shut down. And so he said, right now we're relying on people from around the world, and some of those people don't even like us. So why don't we have a west to east pipeline? Yes, thank you. Yes.
That would have been great to say, Doug. Like really great to push
during
on
the election period.
Right. About the last, for the last 2 years. For the last 2 years. Middle Eastern sourced oil has always been in a we'll say politically active zone in the world with lots and lots of conflict, and we could have had this licked years ago, Doug. Yeah. So thanks for chiming in now.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Too bad you didn't bring that up during the election campaign and you campaigned for Mark Carney.
If you could work on your neighbor Mark Carney, that'd be great.
Right. Like, he thinks we're all hard of remembering. Like, I appreciate the things he's doing. It's going to make Ontario a better place. I don't want Ontarians suffering.
Yeah, we want the best for Ontario.
After we leave, things are going to be bad for you guys. So get your affairs in order. But yeah, this is all stuff that he could have been like, Mark Carney is anti-oil. Yes. We read values. It's crazy. He wants a great green reset that doesn't involve Western Canadian oil. Park your vote with Polyev. He didn't do any of that.
Right.
So thanks for nothing, Doug. Thanks for
Seems that
showing up.
well, that's right. Here's your participation ribbon.
Yeah.
Here's your participation ribbon. No, but truly, the people of Ontario deserve the very, very best, and that includes the very best leadership. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that Doug Ford is trying to now sort of, well, massage the way he's been communicating about issues. It's interesting.
Yeah, he's like the guy that shows up with the tray of watermelon for the soccer team after the kids have gone home. You know?
I got the orange slices, guys.
I'm here. And everybody went home an hour ago. Thanks. Couldn't have done it without you, Doug. Okay, let's hit an ad break. We'll come back on the other side because there's more. Doug Ford, and this is bad Doug Ford. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so he couldn't
change
stay
of pace
for long. Yep.
Change of pace right after the break.
Back to the huge.
Budget 2026 is focused on what matters, including record investments in education. Budget 2026 is focused on giving students the best opportunities to succeed. That's why we're following through on our commitment to hire 3,000 more teachers and 1,500 more EAs. It also focuses on fast-tracking the construction and renovation of 161 schools across the province. Budget 2026, focused on what matters.
Gun bans make great distractions.
Trudeau may be gone, but Carney has picked up his same
We
rhetoric.
will quickly, and I mean quickly, reinvigorate the buyback of
Hunters, collectors, competitors, and defenders of tradition are still being targeted, while criminals run wild under Liberal policy. But we are fighting back. Join us. Canada's National Firearms Association, in defense of freedom.
Canadians know the national anthem. They stand in silence to remember those who died for this country. But not every Canadian knows their rights and freedoms. The Freedom Passport will change that. It looks and feels like a Canadian passport, but contains the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms in a portable, easy-to-read format. The Freedom Passport. Order one for yourself and for all the freedom lovers that you love at freedompassport.ca.
All right. We've got a quick message from our friends at Rumble Wallet. We've got bills to pay around here. They can freeze your accounts, shut off your cards, lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you, they control you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether, you can own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold, this isn't an IOU, this is real gold without bank vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet, peer-to-peer and outside the banking system. No permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. I'm going to get my boy to explain all of that to me after the stream on his lunch break.
Yeah. What is dear son, what is a blockchain?
What is the blockchain?
Please fix the things. Bye. Yeah.
Where can I go take a picture of the blockchain? That's what I need to be able to like.
I want to kick the tires of a blockchain.
Right.
I want to kick the tires of a blockchain before this, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Put it through her paces before I commit.
Okay, so we saw good Doug Ford. What my speculation is gearing up for a 2027 run at the federal conservative leadership.
Makes sense.
Yeah. This is bad Doug Ford. Bad Doug Ford says he's attempting to change the law in Ontario to invoke, I guess, cabinet confidentiality for for cabinet level bureaucrats and his own cell phone to make it safe from access to information filings, which is
absolute garbage. Absolute garbage.
Crazy. It's crazy. We could get Chrystia Freeland's text messages during the Public Order Emergency Commission.
You know why? Because if you know that your communications are accessible by the public. That'll keep you honest, Doug. That'll keep your bureaucrats honest, Doug. And if you knew, Doug Ford, how many bureaucrats were actively working against your party, you would not want to shut down access to their records. Absolute garbage.
He's trying to get cabinet documents withheld from public disclosure. No, we pay you. We need to know what you're saying about us behind our backs, behind closed doors, when you think nobody's watching.
That's exactly right.
Thank you. How many scandals are constantly exposed through access filings?
Well, and it does beg the question then, what has he got to hide? What is he trying to hide? Right. Because only a person that had something to hide would not want their information accessed by the public. This is an elected official. Garbage.
Let's watch his excuses. He says it's cybersecurity, a bunch of other stuff. Yeah.
What does the, as you put it, communist Chinese have to do with you wanting to keep your cabinet documents secret?
That's a very small part of it. Cybersecurity is a massive issue. This legislation's 40 years old. This is about the broader public service. We're doing great work, research in universities. We have health records. And we have to keep an eye on our adversaries, be it China, North Korea, Russia. And if anyone thinks that they aren't on to us and everywhere else in the world, well, you're sadly mistaken.
Are you saying that they're logging along with the rest of us, filing FOI reports?
No. I know you guys are obsessed with one part of it, but that's a small part of it. No. The cybersecurity, but the bigger issue is.
No, Doug.
I'm not pulling a rabbit out of our hat here. This is exactly what the federal government has done. And I find it very ironic that you haven't been up in Ottawa and asking. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Hold on, folks. Let me just finish before you attack me.
They're pushing hard.
Okay, so what I'm saying is we're duplicating what the federal government's doing in provinces right across the country. So again,
actually not.
95%. You know all this. 95% will be FOIable. But cabinet confidentiality, personal conversations.
No.
That's not for a public to review of someone that may send me something that's very, very personal. Maybe you think you should air dirty laundry about someone's health records or other issues.
There's provisions for all of this.
There's provisions.
There's provisions for all of this. Privacy and Information Commissioner or the authority would redact all private information. None of that is ever released.
Right.
And that you would this honestly gets my ears up going, what are they doing in the background here? What do they have to hide?
Exactly that. So first of all, as you rightly point out, why are you replicating the abuse of cabinet confidentiality clause
that the feds
do all the time? Every time they don't want to give me a record, they're like, cabinet confidentiality. I'm like, this doesn't involve cabinet. What are you doing? And then I have to go through the process and the time of appealing all the way to the information commissioner. And then the information commissioner sides with me because they say the system is being abused. Every time. And then they order the federal government to release the records.
No, it's
Doug
such
Ford
a
is
gross
going
waste.
to replicate that. And personal information is always redacted. Even with federal contractors who are acting as an arm of the federal government, they redact those emails, their names, everything, even though it shouldn't be redacted, Doug, in an abundance of caution.
Hey, Doug Ford, if one of your let's say theoretically that one of Doug Ford's cabinet members was talking to Russia or China or one of the bad guys, would Doug Ford not want to know about that? Because that compromised cabinet member would not come forward and say, "Oh, Doug Ford, by the way, I've been doing bad things, behind everybody's backs."
I've been talking to Iran.
Exactly. Freedom of information means that the government is free to learn it as well, Doug. And by siloing that information and keeping it out of the public purview, it will do no favors for either Doug Ford, his government, or the people of Ontario. End of.
Governing the public using public dollars must be shown to be in public. That's it. Anything less is not accountability.
There should be no barriers between the public and the information that's produced by their elected officials or the bureaucracy. There should be no secrets between the public and the bureaucracy. And yet, the hoops that they will make us jump through to get our hands on that information. They have an entire bureaucracy set up to keep that information out of our hands. And so to hear Doug Ford say this, to say that he's going to bolster that, keep more things private.
Replicate what the feds do.
These are private conversations. Well, we've seen what the government can do when they have private conversations. We've seen the harms that they can commit. Oh, Doug, this is a bad call. This is just awful. And he's not suggesting, but like he's making these other bold moves in an effort to become leader of the Conservatives. Maybe this is not the way.
It sounds like he doesn't want certain scandals to come to light as he makes a run at the leadership.
Sure does. Yeah.
That sounds what, he's sanitizing his communications.
Well, the bad news about that is the truth always comes out. It always comes out in the wash. So you can try.
It'll get
leaked. You can try and cover your tracks, but it's all coming out in the wash anyway. And then you're just going to look bad for trying to cover your tracks.
It'll get leaked, Doug. I ATIP communications between the public and the feds all the time, on certain campaigns that we're running. For example, when they tried to cancel our event with Donald Trump Jr., we ATIP'd the communications of the outraged public to the minister and TR Sachs. And the access bureaucrats, the information bureaucrats, they just redacted everybody's last name and their email address or any identifiable
contacts. Yeah.
They, their phone numbers, they just went through and redacted that stuff. But the substance of the communication, the public is entitled to this.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, Doug,
it's one of the favorite. It's one of the favorite things that we do on this show. Is when we identify a story, we're just going to find out what happened. And this is how we do it is by applying to the government to get the documents that they never assumed that we would want to look at ever. We get those documents and we show you what they say. This is how we found out that 99 girls in Saskatchewan have been mutilated by a gender cult. This is how we did that.
This is how I found out that the city of Edmonton, the tourism agency there, spent $250,000 on hockey tickets in a year.
This is how I found out Regina Public Schools has full-time people disparaging parents and working against us. Our fight to preserve parental rights is going all the way to the Supreme Court, and here Regina Public Schools is actively working against parents. This is how we find this out. Anyway, you can donate to Rebel News's journalism in this regard.
Rebelinvestigates.com. Even if you just allow me, dear public, through your donations to rebelinvestigates.com to see all the mean things that you've been saying to the government in response to my stories, it makes me so happy.
It really does. It really does.
Because I file for those communications all the time. I'm like, what did they say in response to this story?
Yeah.
And then I get your emails. All of your information is redacted. Some of you, I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who, because you've seen me on the email sometimes.
So then you get it back. You get it twice.
Yeah.
You get it twice. You get it the first time CC'd, and then you get it back with the ATIP. Interesting.
Do you know that sometimes that's how I know I didn't get all the communications? Is because I will go and match and say, Joe's email isn't in the stack that I got back, and I know Joe sent it because so send another request and say I didn't get all the records. I know most of the time I know those records exist. That's why I'm asking for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, that's bad, Doug Ford. We don't like him. But you just mentioned the gender cult in Saskatchewan. The Canadian Medical Association, looking for something to do post-COVID, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is intervening in the Supreme Court appeal of Saskatchewan's pronoun law.
Yep. So the Canadian Medical Association has applied to give testimony to be an expert, I guess, in the Supreme Court battle for parental rights. So you'll all remember back in 2023, the government of Saskatchewan used the notwithstanding clause to protect parental rights in a bill that required parental consent around any name or pronoun changes at school. So the government of Saskatchewan passed legislation to stop the social transition of children in Saskatchewan schools. And now 2 years later, along comes the Canadian Medical Association, who are in no small part responsible for the dire consequences of gender affirming care on Canadian young people. And now they're saying, well, we want to make sure that our industry is represented when we're arguing things at the Supreme Court. When really what we need to do is concentrate on returning to the truth, returning to the basic premise that there is no such thing as a trans child, that medically, surgically transitioning children is a bad idea, that has a growing body of evidence that shows that it has disastrous consequences. Tumblr Rich, okay, let's just point to that as a quick example of what can go terribly, terribly wrong. But these are the people that are responsible for creating this madness, and now they want a chance to tell the Supreme Court why they want to continue this madness. It is simply insane.
Right. And the long-term effects of this is that people's relationship and trust in the entire medical industry is completely shattered. And
that's right.
It happened during COVID.
Yeah.
And this only makes it worse.
Yes. Like why don't we have the World Pharma Organization applying as an intervener to the Supreme Court of Canada so they can explain why putting kids on wrong sex hormones and puberty blockers is a great idea. Why don't they do that? Why don't they? They were complicit in driving this through without any public consultation and no breaks. And when it comes to kids, we must use caution. And that is something that's been completely ignored in this entire argument.
Right. Only one side of this debate
has ever been publicly. Yes.
Well, and I was going to say only one side of this debate has actually talked to parents, and that's the Saskatchewan government.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
You know?
They've done well, but since the time of wielding the notwithstanding clause, we have not seen a lot of movement on this file. We have not repealed the terrible ideologies that are infesting our curriculum. We haven't pumped the brakes on the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation, who spoon feeds the ARC Foundation, British Columbia SOGI programming authors into our curriculum through the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation, even though the government of Saskatchewan said we are not going to be using ARC Foundation materials. They do. Nothing has happened. As a matter of fact, the government of Saskatchewan got into an extensively long, years-long negotiation with the federal government on childcare funding. Okay, it took years to work out all of the details. That falls under the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education forgot about education while it prioritized the federal government negotiation. And it's time that we get back to basics when it pertains to educating our children. So looking forward to some really big moves from the government of Saskatchewan on this, now that we see it accelerating through the courts the way it is.
Well, I mean, and you can just point to Alberta and say, okay,
do that. Copy paste.
Do that. Just get the perverty books out of there.
That's it.
And stop the gender transition of kids, the medical transition of kids behind their backs. Do that, and you will see your popularity, even in the urban areas, go up and up and up and up.
Oh, school choice. They could do that with school choice today.
School choice.
We're going to have a voucher system, and we're going to give parents the ability to take their kids out of public schools where this is really being forced down the throats of parents. Instant winner. Winner.
Do what we do here in Alberta. Funding follows the child. And how that works out for us is that people who access private schools they're lower than the median income because they're able to choose those better schools for their kids.
Alberta has had choice in public education for the last 20 some odd years.
And then some.
And you know what it shows? Alberta is consistently in the top 4 in reading, in math, in sciences. They are consistently overachieving over all of the other provinces. And it's because they know that parents always want the best for their own children and will make decisions in the best interest of their child's success. And so can't wait for the Sask party to catch up. Just can't wait any minute now, guys. Like also, any minute.
I was talking to someone on this issue, and I know we're on a bit of a side quest here.
Side quest.
But in Alberta, parents can organize to form their own school, right? Like
Charter
charter schools. And
Yeah.
so, if you get enough kids who want a hockey academy, you can organize to form a hockey academy.
Mhm.
But what the sort of there's like an extra benefit to this is that these schools, because they're not massive, and sometimes they'll use the local gym or the local rec
community
center or
centers or
whatever
yeah.
as their gym or their swimming pool or whatever, that you can put these schools with a lower than average number of kids in an empty retail space or whatever. So you don't need to ramp up and build an entire school.
No.
You just need a spot where kids can learn for the day, and then they
It's-
go do gym at the rec center or
And
whatever.
that's the one thing that that Alberta writ large has done so well at, is the innovation line in education. They're not afraid to try new things and make bold moves, whereas I think
We're not
Saskatchewan
scared
has
of
been
the
really lagging.
unions. We're
Well-
not scared of the unions here.
Well, Sask Party should be, because the NDP was close to lapping them. So
Yeah.
let's get busy. Let's get busy taking away some of their power in the province.
Speaking of not scared of the unions, we've just introduced Bill 11, where doctors can see private patients. Like, you can pay to see your doctor outside of regular business hours. So you're not taking you're not taking your doctor away from his regular patients. If he agrees to see you and take your money, it has to be outside of business hours, and it will alleviate, as we call it, Quebec-style doctor shortages. So this is coming in the next few months. We've got a video from Danielle Smith on this. Not scared to
Do
innovate.
you have any response to some of the protests taking place across the province, including Calgary, in regards to Bill 11 and opposition to Bill 11?
Well, I can tell you that what we're intending to do is to improve service in the public system by making sure that doctors are able to do dual practice. We watched with some grave concern in Quebec as more and more doctors were opting out of the system, over 800, because they had to make a choice of either doing private medicine or public. So we don't want to go down that pathway. We are going to mandate that those who want to do dual practice have to continue providing the exact same service to the public system that they are today. And then whether it's evenings or weekends or in the days that they don't get surgical time, they'll be able to take on private patients. And so we think that this is going to improve the healthcare for Albertans.
Yes.
And as a follow-up, is there any update on this rollout? I know it passed in December, but in terms of implementation, in terms of the rollout and timeline, are we already seeing success? Is it too early for that? Is there challenges? Just where are we at with it?
We're in the middle of putting the regulations together because, of course, we're going to have very detailed reporting requirements to verify that our doctors are continuing to deliver this exact same amount of service to the public system. And so those are in process. I imagine that we'll have them available for release within the next couple of months.
What's the problem?
There isn't a problem. This is increasing timely access to the correct professional in an adequate amount of time. How many times have you thought to yourself where you needed emergent medical care and you thought to myself, oh good, this is just going to start off a 20-hour emergency room situation
where
you
I'll
just
leave sicker.
That's right. Where you just need to see your one guy. You just need to see your one guy for 5 minutes to get this taken care of. And yes, people are willing to pay it. I'd be willing to pay this. I'd be absolutely willing to pay this.
Get a sick baby.
Oh, I thought that, Sheila, instantaneously. You have a sick baby with a fever or maybe a rash or an abnormality. You would do anything to have your baby seen right away. You would pay anything. And what she also said was this isn't going to take away from the regular pipeline of patients. That's right. This is house call situation. This is how they used to do things, actual care.
Right. Perfect. And you know what it does? It gets that sick baby out of the emergency room so somebody else can take their place. So this just moves everybody up. I don't see the problem. Of course, the unions are going to be mad. Don't care. Let them cry. And for people who want after hours surgical care, why wouldn't you want them to stay in Alberta and get that? Instead, they're just going to fly to the United States. Canada does have a dual system, except our second private system is in the United States and people use it all the time. Why wouldn't you just want them to stay closer to home?
Yep, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. The least amount of disruption for patients should be the goal. And this breaks down the barriers between patients and
the
access
quickest
to timely
access
care.
to care. Yeah,
Beautiful.
the quickest access. It's anyways. I think it's great, and I hope the unions just cry and cry and cry.
I can't wait.
I
I can't wait. Yeah.
I think because we need to wrap up right on time, and I know how we get with the cringes.
Let's go.
Let's do 2 cringes.
Okay.
First cringe, because it's St. Patrick's Day. Ireland's new communist president declares war on the very existence of Ireland during her first St. Patrick's Day message.
What?
Yeah, that's what the description of the video is. Let's watch.
I want to see it.
The story of Patrick's life serves as a reminder of the resilience and courage of migrants, the invaluable contributions that they have made and continue to make to the countries they now call home, sometimes even in the face of great adversity. Patrick's story speaks not only to the Ireland of the 5th century, but to the millions still subjected to trafficking, forced labour and displacement today. As we recall the life of Patrick, we invoke his spirit and acknowledge our shared responsibilities as global citizens. We stand in solidarity with those who find themselves in vulnerable and dangerous circumstances. Patrick's story invites us to respond with hospitality and kindness to those suffering the consequences of war and displacement.
Sheila, why didn't she talk about the snakes? That's what. Why
talk about the snakes?
Madam, it is your one job to talk about the snakes and what St. Patrick did on St. Patrick's Day. And look at you trying to make this into a migrant struggle session. Sheila, talk to me about the snakes quickly.
Okay, well, the snakes is a bit of a legend, but St. Patrick, for those of you who don't know, we don't really know ideally where he was from. We know he was in Roman, he was most likely born in Roman Britain. We don't know if he was Italian. We don't know.
But what is he most famous for? What is he most famous for?
Ridding the Emerald Isle of snakes, okay?
Well, bringing Christianity.
Bringing Christianity there and then chasing away the snakes.
Chasing them
I think he was born before 400 AD, and he was not a migrant, sister. He was kidnapped to Ireland, okay? He wasn't a migrant worker. He was kidnapped and taken to Ireland.
He was exiled to Ireland. So anyway, that's just a really interesting way for the new, what was it, president of Ireland? Is that what
yeah.
New communist president of Ireland. That was really interesting. Like, wasn't that jovial, guys? Don't you feel super jazzed to be Irish for the day after hearing that? Not really.
Right. Like, this is the day that everybody knows Ireland for. And she's like, you know what this is about? It was about the migrants.
That's right.
Not the snakes, not bringing Catholicism there.
Not bringing Christianity. No.
Nothing. You learned nothing about St. Patrick from that statement.
And she couldn't even conjure a green dress. Like, look at us. And I guarantee that a great many of our viewers are also joining us. She couldn't even muster a green dress. Looked like she was dressing for a funeral.
I would be full shamrocks. I would have the shamrock headband on.
The little bouncy ones, like the little bounce.
I might even be dressed as a leprechaun if I was like the president of Ireland and it's St. Patrick's Day. I would have like a red wig, red beard. I'd be doing a little jig, you know. I'd come out with my little pot of gold. I'd lean right into it. This is just a huge wasted opportunity. The world learned nothing about St. Patrick. Bringing Christianity there, him being kidnapped, where he potentially could have been from, not even the year that he was there, like nothing. Didn't even mention the snakes. Didn't even mention the snakes.
Arguably the world's most famous saint, and she didn't even mention the snakes.
Yeah. I mean, it's right up there with St. Valentine. Like, you know what I mean? This is your thing. This
Could
is
you
your thing.
imagine? Could you imagine if she talked about St. Valentine and didn't mention love? That's the equivalent here. That's the equivalent here. Anyway.
That was terrible.
Dour.
That was terrible.
Awful. Off brand.
Very
for
bad.
such a jovial day. Yeah.
We've got one chat and then we'll go to the other cringe.
Okay.
Where we check in on the United Church. Everybody ready? Everybody ready? Independent Alberta gives us $5. Speaking of schools, from Yakstack, if Christmas can't have a tree in the school lobby, then Ramadan can't have the cafeteria. Full stop. Yeah, I saw that one school closed the cafeteria because of Ramadan.
Mm-hmm.
I am a fasting Catholic, and I've never ever expected maybe it's because maybe we fast for different reasons, but I've never expected someone to like not eat around me or anything like that. Yeah, Calgary Middle School bans food in the cafeteria during Ramadan. So what, kids are just eating outside? Where are they eating?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, they're not. That's the thing. They're not. The kids, I guess the kids that get to eat that aren't fasting for Ramadan have to go somewhere else. They would be excluded. They would be excluded from eating in the cafeteria, which is funny considering that is exactly what a cafeteria is for.
Right. And maybe it's because we're doing like the whole point for me is to suffer. So if I see other people eating and I'm not eating at that moment, or I'm not eating that thing and I'm suffering, that's what I'm here for. Right? Like I'm here for the discomfort to like offer my suffering up to the Lord for like, Lent or whatever.
Where are all of the people that screamed that hungry children can't learn? Where are all the National Food Program people decrying this, saying children need to be able to eat to learn? Where are they now? Where are they?
Right. I mean, there's a discussion around ketones, but why are we not even punishing, but forcing all the other kids to go along with this?
Excluding them.
Yeah. Okay, we've got the other cringe. And friends, it's the United Church of Canada. They're back at her again. They're back at her. This is a real cornucopia for the eyeballs, so just be ready. If you were expecting Father Jim, this ain't it. Let's watch.
I'm a minister in the United Church of Canada. Of course I'm going to invite you to a potluck with triangle sandwiches.
I'm a minister in the United Church of Canada. Of course you're going to see me at the protest.
I'm a minister in the United Church of Canada. Obviously, I'm going to call you a beloved child of God if you were ever to come out to me.
I'm a minister in the United Church of Canada. Of course I'm going to tell you have a place at the table.
I'm a minister.
This can't be real. Is this?
No, I believe it is. Write down like this, again, stereotypes are stereotypes largely because they're true. And this woman with all of her flair, again, looks like she came straight out of central casting to confirm every single last stereotype that I have about the modern United Church of Canada. This is not the United Church of my father. Okay. This is not the United Church on the prairies
this is not
of 100 years ago.
Yeah, this is not the United Church that I baptized all my children into. Like, this is an abomination. These are the type of people that I would cross the street to avoid. I would never, ever walk into a church, see that, and go, yeah, this is a place for me, man.
Right, with the Palestinian garb and all the every social justice flair, black lipstick.
I honestly thought that it was a joke. Like, that I thought this was satire, and I can't believe that it's real. But yeah, no, this is where the United Church is in the world. Of course it is. Why am I shocked?
Right.
Why am I shocked? They take anybody. They have an atheist for
an
pastor,
atheist
for
pastor.
God's sakes.
Yeah. You know what? And here's the thing. It's okay to just be a self-help group. Like, it's okay to just be a left-wing self-help group.
Yeah.
You don't have to pretend like you're over there worshiping Christ. You don't have to pretend that. You can just be a self-help group. That's okay.
And just taking a look at that second lady with her face painted and all of it's a self-sterilizing group. You know, our great grandkids aren't going to have to deal with their great grandkids because they're not making any.
How much do you want to bet that they affirm every single mortal sin there is? And
guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
While Jesus helped the sinners, he did not abide their sin. He said, go forth and sin no more. He forgave them, but also gave them that instruction to not live in grave moral sin. You know,
And
you just
did you
can't...
hear her saying that? No, she said that if you approach her, she'll say that you're welcome. Bring all of your crazy fetishist, progressive, social justice baloney. We'll take you here in the United Church of Canada.
Well,
That's what she
and
said.
On my screensaver on my laptop here, okay? I don't know if you guys can see that, but it says the church is a hospital, not a courtroom for souls. She does condemn on behalf of sins, but grants remission of sins. And that's from St. John Chrysostom, whom this pastor lady has probably never heard of. And so, yes, the church takes your broken, but it's supposed to help you go forth into the world and not fall into those grave moral sins that disconnect you from the Lord. It does not justify your sins. It forgives them. And that's a difference here.
Well,
anyway,
I know where
thank
I
you.
won't be on Sunday. And it's
Thank you
at
for
a
coming to
United
my
Church of Canada
TED Talk. I'm not saying, I'm not like, look, there are a bunch of different denominations out there for you. Pick the one that best suits you, but also pick the one that affirms the best version of you, that reflects the glory of the Lord and the gift of your life. That's all I'm saying to you.
It's good
All right.
advice. Good advice for a Tuesday, Sheila Gunn Reid.
Yeah. Oh, St. Patrick's Day. It's a religious day. Okay. Speaking of religious days, who's having green beer? Let me know in the comments. Are you going to have your green beers tonight? And celebrate the St. Patrick, even though you learned nothing about it from the President of Ireland? What a crazy lady. I hope she never quits. Okay. Let's wrap the show. David needs the studio. He's probably standing there watching us. Olivia, thanks so much for putting the show together. Lise, see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Western Wednesdays tomorrow. Thanks to everybody who pitched in a little bit to keep the lights on, interacted with the show. That's a free thing that you can do to help us get up in the algos, as they say. Make sure if we just turned up in your feed, make sure you're subscribed. We're trying to get to 2 million. Those are Camping with Steve numbers. And I see that he has a new video coming out, so I'm quite excited for him to come back from his brief sabbatical. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Thanks so much. And as we always say on the show here, if you find us offensive, maybe don't find us at all.